the two that have, or just telling her.
Call the meeting to order.
Can
Can I have a roll call, please?
Brian,
Here.
Lexi, here, Justin,
Here.
John, here, Jeff.
There, very much. Next up on is the building permit discussion. We've got Craig here from ECIA. This was asked to be brought back up to re-examine our fee structure. There was a building that wanted to, company that wanted to put a building up and thought that the permit was excessive, so it was asked to be brought back for a discussion. So Craig, if you come up. Did you not think we were gonna have you close to it?
No, I didn't know what you were gonna do.
Oh.
I didn't,
Neither do we.
I didn't know if we were just gonna have questions or,
It could be any and all.
okay,
I think, I'm gonna ask Justin to start. He was actually the one who requested that we put this back on. You and I had a talk. You thought it'd be good to have it back on for a discussion.
Yeah, I was just curious, like, what is the fee structures of other communities that you
so
directions for?
for Asbury, for example, I don't know exactly the valuation values that they use, but it's based on the estimated construction cost. That's another way to do it. You guys are using, and historically have used square foot costs. I believe it's 45 cents a square foot for residential. For a building permit.
For a building?
And we've been going with 12 cents, I think, on the commercial.
Is that standard or is that high? Is that low? Is that?
I don't know where the 12 cents really came from. I think that was just cherry, wasn't it, or?
No,
No, it was a discussion.
we had a discussion.
Yes.
I don't remember how we arrived at 12 cents.
That was back in 2022, I believe.
It's like higher than that originally.
It was significant, so we reduced it down.
When we first started talking about it, it was higher than that.
Okay,
It went down to 12 cents.
okay.
When you do like an inspection on a warehouse, how many times would you be there? Like an empty cold storage warehouse?
Well, that would depend on a lot of different variables. I mean, the size of it, the construction type.
So you just take in one of Piazza Warehouse's buildings up there.
Again, what square footage are we talking here?
250,000.
Which I don't have any idea. I'd have to put pencil to paper and,
Yeah, because that's the one, that's where this discussion's coming from. There was a discussion of having a building, dry warehouse, 250,000 square feet. And our estimate was $28,333, 30 grand.
okay, I can remember.
Yeah, so this is where this discussion's coming from, is to see, is that excessive? Do we need to adjust the way we're looking at it?
150,000. $30,000 approximately. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I think, that's a large building. I don't think that happens very often, even in Dubuque. You could look at possibly reducing it after so many square feet, let's say. I mean, there's just a lot of variables in that. I think you would go out, you would cover, for concrete inspections, for example, would be the main thing on that. I mean, I'm assuming this would be a metal building.
Precast concrete, I was gonna
I
get.
was gonna say probably, yeah, precast concrete.
So maybe, yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I'm a building inspector, I don't set fees.
Right.
But that would probably, I mean, I'm just gonna go on our rates. I think it's around $95 or $100. That gets you. Let's just use 100. $300. up for a building like that. I mean, I honestly, I'm an architect, former architect. I
Okay.
can't even picture 250,000 square foot building.
Okay. So 300 hours for inspections sounds like a lot. Does that, would you?
I think maybe because,
And I'm a salesman, so I have zero concept.
yeah, you know, I think you'd find, you know, if you would take that exact building, and let's say, put it in our neighbors, you know, neighboring city Dubuque, they're gonna base that on construction cost. And I think you might find it's even higher than that.
Are the construction cost estimated approaches like a percentage of construction cost? Or,
I haven't looked at Dubuque's in a long time, but they've. Sorry, I'm not prepared for.
No, this,
for answering
we didn't know what we
Dubuque's,
were gonna ask. We're just.
I do have some information, you know, we looked into this previously,
Yeah.
comparing it to Dubuque's. You know, I don't know if there's any hard regulations or laws, you know. If you're concerned about not getting out there enough, I don't know if that would be an issue or not. But I mean, a building like that, I really don't, how long does it take to build something like that? I mean, is it under construction for a year and a half? So then I mean, what we would typically do is we go out for, and I'm just thinking in concrete, for example, we'll go out for a pour and we'll check the rebar versus. You might find that the owner's hired an engineer to also look at rebar, then maybe we can let up on it a little bit and not go out as much. I mean, there's nothing in the code that says you have to visit a site so many times, or for example, a house, pretty simple. You go out there one time for a footing, you go out there for foundation wall, so to third trip for a sub wall or something like that. But that's really a tough question to answer.
Well, I think when we're looking at a cost like this, we're trying to gather our week. I mean, if we're concerned about covering the city costs, is the $30,000, you know, that's why we're charging that permit.
Right, you don't want to charge too much either, I'm sure.
Right, well, and
we
that's.
lost this project.
Yeah, with the project.
Lost the project.
So that's what kind of prompts.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit.
Yeah, what, you know.
Did it go to town with no building
Yeah.
inspections? No
Yeah,
building-
yeah, so, and I know that's not,
Yeah.
yeah, there's not I can't compete with that.
Right.
We can't compete with that. We've decided in our
That
code,
we
we are gonna follow this set of codes, which does cost us money to make sure that all these buildings will meet what our
Here's what I can
expectations.
tell you, there's a lot of apartments going up. It's working for those, I think it is anyway. You know, the 12 cents, just typically, you know, these apartments that have been going up, these 18 plexes, 12 plexes. 40 hours, you know, all said and done for the, you know, just one. If you compare it to Dubuque, your neighbor, you're probably much less expensive on those. I think you're right on with residential. I really do.
Right on.
Probably maybe a little less expensive on those too. I think Dubuque would do, Dubuque and Asbury both do estimated construction costs. They got charts. I've never seen them. But I know what they're getting on average for a permit, and I think you're on. Electrical, we're probably a little under. I think I see the permits, you know, when I help Shandi review them. I think you're 5 cents a square foot for electrical. I want to say Dubuque 7. There probably hasn't been an increase in Peosta for electrical in quite some time, but I think again that's working. But these large buildings, boy, I mean, all you can really do is look at your neighboring cities and see how you compare. I'm gonna want to say that the $30,000 fee for a 250,000 square foot building is probably a lot less than Dubuque. But I mean, I'd have to go on their website and you plug that in. They've got a chart where you plug that in. and see.
Okay.
But,
Well, we don't want to be Dubuque.
right, this is.
We also want to, the city doesn't necessarily want to make windfalls on our permit fees. We want to cover the costs and things that are happening. We want to attract projects that want to be here. So I don't know if different types of projects need a different methodology, or it gets to a certain size and it should be time and materials and we do an estimated permit.
That's why I remember being asked if this was in February or March.
March.
I think you could make it work for the 12 cents, the $30,000 approximately be that,
The reason we lost this was because we have codes.
Since we have codes that we have to respect.
Very-
Now, we don't want to back off of
It
those.
wasn't just
No.
that either.
Right.
Just lots of people throw stuff up.
Steve, did you have a question?
Project.
I did. 300,
Use that too.
you said 300 hours on a building of that sort on just a warehouse.
I'm just going up.
Or roughly guessing, or whatever it may be on the, based upon the amount that was set. So if there was, just a standard bathroom, and just simple lighting, I mean, do you guys actually get up in like on the high lifts and check, the roof system and all that stuff? I mean, it's a concrete structured building. Are
So we're gonna be a concrete.
the structured walls, are the concrete walls, are they being inspected or?
It wouldn't be so much that, on a precast concrete building, there would be, you have your foundation, your footing foundation, plan review, footing foundation. Then you get into sprinkler, inspections, because there wouldn't really be any framing. Correct.
I mean, to me, it seems a little excessive to inspect the footings if the walls aren't being inspected. That's a precast walls.
I don't know, I'm inspecting a building in Akron right now, it's 30,000 square feet. They started the foundation about 2 months ago. And I've been out there probably 10 or 12 times and they're not only half done. So. Yeah, I mean, you're asking about an industrial building, kind of a way of doing it. Some cities, I would suspect, probably give a big credit or reduction when you get out past, let's say, 20 or 50,000 square feet. Probably for that very reason, but yeah, I mean, that's just, I mean, I could definitely, between now and your next work session, look into some more information for you on that, but.
I think it'd be nice to get some comparables with other cities and see if there's a, this is a stepwise function where there's a break point.
You may have. Are you required to adhere to the exact fee structure for every building? Is that something that can change? Building per building, would you get together and decide that you're gonna reduce it? I mean, I'm just throwing out options there.
Right.
You would have to be part of development agreement.
Yeah, I think is that how that would be handled through?
That's how I.
Actually, I think on that 12 cents, there is a reduction for so many square feet. So I don't know if it's
Yeah, I
gonna be
don't-
30 anyway, but it was probably getting close.
I think it's up to 20,000
Up to
and then I think
20,000.
there's a reduction.
Yeah. But I think, if I remember right, I think it still was in the 20s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
20, it's almost 30 grand.
But to give you an idea, there's probably, but this would include plumbing, electrical, mechanical in a house. 8 to 10, maybe 11 hours total. Most houses are 2,000 square feet, so. Great question about, what would you, from this, as far as the superstructure goes, so the foundation's in, then what else are you looking at? I would suspect a building like that's gonna have all kinds of racking. So now you're looking at exits, doors, dials, how that's set up. Probably not so much any of the welds, or that's the way that the precast is attached. Might not be really something that we need to look at. So, I mean, and that's where the reductions come into play, I think, with, the bigger the square footage of the building is, you might,
Some synergy.
if that's something that you want to revisit. The way it's set up now, I think, the way it's set up right now would be, it's a great deal to build an apartment or a commercial building, let's say 15,000-20,000 square foot in Peosta versus your neighbors, that.
Any other questions for Craig? And maybe we haven't any discussion amongst council at this time?
I'm just not sure where we go, like,
Is it we leave it alone at this point? I'll just ask this and then look at negotiating each time we have something in front of us?
negotiating a specific deal for a specific project.
Correct.
I mean, that'd be a good, look into the ordinance, the way it's written, and I'm not big on city government. Do you have that authority? I think you do.
Well, I was just gonna, I thought we
To
did.
change it.
I thought in this particular.
I think there's language in it that talks about, maybe it's even administrative, but I think you probably have to go through those. And I just don't know the answer to those questions.
I think we looked into it this case, and I thought we were told that we couldn't. We couldn't negotiate.
Yeah, you might want to check with your city attorney too.
Because
We were advised to
Yeah.
follow our fee structure.
Our ordinance.
See,
And so we did, and
because technically it's an ordinance, it's law, it's, yeah.
But could we change, and I'm asking, thinking out loud, can we change that so it says that you can?
I think it says something in the law right now, but if your
I'm sure we can.
attorney didn't like it, that it's up to, maybe it says administrator, maybe it says city council, I'm not sure. That'd be something to look into.
I think we should definitely. look at
I
that.
think we should look at it as some sort of sliding scale.
yeah,
The larger the building, it's gonna be more tax dollars coming to us.
I'm just trying to brainstorm, you know, what else would go along with a building like that. Of course, fire alarm, would be another one, and that'd be part of your building permit too. Electrical, plumbing would be, there wouldn't be a whole lot of plumbing in a building like that.
right.
There'd be a lot of electrical. But that's not part of the fee you're talking, the 12 cents, that's its own permit. So that's why maybe you'd want to revisit it and look at maybe reductions for certain square footages. You know, have a base, whether that's at 20 or 50,000 square foot, you go down for the 12 cents, maybe even as low as 5, I don't know,
Right.
per, but there's something in there now, maybe that obviously didn't work out well for this situation. Right.
I think we take a look at that.
So would you want me to get maybe some information, on a hypothetical building that large?
I don't think, I think
I think we have, I think we have it. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that, I think we have it, the 28,000.
and I think what we need to decide is if we want to
We felt like our hands.
flexible on
Yeah.
people that have been good to the community versus people that are just starting out. Right?
I think to be flexible.
They
and
all
all
do felt-
You know what I'm saying is if someone that's been here and been doing, know the product. You know, versus someone that's building their first building.
Yeah, we felt like there was no leeway with
Right.
what we were trying.
I think with us, or even if you had a building inspector on staff, you can control how often they go. I mean, we would know what the fee is and we stay under that. There's not any laws determining how often you've got to go out and look at these buildings. I mean, you're inspecting them for code. So you can get that done in less time. I mean,
Right.
Right.
I think at this point, it's more of a general conversation that we have to have. This helped us out a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
just keep in touch if there's any other questions you have. All right.
Thanks, Craig. Have a good night.
You wanna stay?
No.
How far would you be if I didn't stop you?
I didn't know we were talking.
We're good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
See, it's like.
Yeah, it is a dumb joke. Sorry. Does anyone have an issue if we move the Kelly Pavilion bids up? Because I see Mike is on mine here. It's fine.
That's fine.
So. Got bids? Open up discussion.
Higher than we thought.
Yep.
It's the nature of the bid game though.
Do we have the funds to pay for it?
You give Marcy spreadsheet?
All right. Let's do it.
So I kind of reran some of the numbers today, this afternoon. Kind of got some updated figures from Stacy. I'm sorry if you can't see it very well. I can zoom in on whatever part. The first section is what we have in the original budget, which is kind of a moot point right now. So I'll just focus on this piece. So I kind of re-estimated, these are the current balances and what we have for the accounts. I re-estimated some of the revenues because obviously we haven't even started collecting the higher franchise fees yet. So we're not gonna hit $200,000 of revenue in that area this year. So I adjusted that one. I adjusted the hotel motel, just kind of based on what we've collected so far this year. And I can send this out to you as well. We would be omitting a couple transfers that we've talked about. And then I went in and I plugged in and updated with Stacy all the expenses for the pavilion and then the trail and then the parking lot, which those two were not 100% on. And I updated all the revenues, which is the two REAP grants, the ARPA money, and all of that. So right now we would be okay to do the pavilion. If we want to do the parking lot and the trail as well, short $124,000.
It's the total of those two.
Those two are. You may read the number in the bottom. 310, is that what it says?
You said we're short 140?
125, but that's based on this year's budget. You know, so we also, a couple things that we know that we're not gonna be paying all this out in this fiscal year. Right? At the same token, we're not gonna be getting paid back all those funds until we do pay it out. I kind of just made some other notes on the side, like there's definitely gonna be additional expenses that we haven't talked about. And I gotta talk to Stacy what she thought. There's always change orders. We're always over budget. Seems like when we do projects every now and then we're not. You know, additional engineering costs, things like internet, signs, concrete pads for benches and for the
Picnic table.
the golf course, tables, chairs for the pavilion. All of those things, those are not included in this. But then also things to note that, you know, we're not gonna have these expenses necessarily in this fiscal year. So this is based on this fiscal year. We'll potentially be able to pay for some of that and budget it into FY27.
So the intention is to start the build on this spring?
Right. And then I would say probably like the trail and the parking lot would be late summer, fall.
That's what we talked about, like August, September, October, November timeframe.
So
Fiscal year.
In 2026.
Right. So, you know, we'll be into FY27. Our franchise fee money will be more next year than it was this year. We'll, you know, be having the money coming. A lot of it will be going in and out. Also, this year was the last year that we dedicated $100,000 from loss to Kelly Oaks. So there's the ability to say, hey, we want to do another 100,000 next year or take more of the franchise funds. I think what it boils down to is between FY26 and 27, we'd be able to do the entire project.
And that's the timing that it's on right now anyway.
Right.
I don't think the news is, I mean, the bids are great, but I think it's based on this, I think it's doable and it's wanted.
And I think to add to that is the big caveat of the $275,000 we have in grants that we could potentially lose if we don't move forward with
What's
this.
the timeframe on those?
So I had a conversation with Ed today, like our contract with Dubuque County ends in December, so next month. I had a conversation with him for extending, which he doesn't think is an issue. I have to talk to you afterwards because we have to extend it. But his biggest issue is that we need to show progress. We need to show that that halts, there's a chance that that extension no longer comes. So if we're not showing that we're making, like, obviously we made progress, we've done the trail, we've done the playground, we've shown progress. But if we stop showing progress, it could be not continue to be renewed, and then
Get ready to move forward with the project.
would be the
Shows
progress, correct?
Is that guaranteed that we're showing progress, or can we do this?
It's a very good, like, he was almost sold, as long as we say we're doing this and we show that progress.
I don't want to stop the
He all
building
but-
else, so you still use it.
No, yeah, no, he was, I mean, while it's not guaranteed, he was 99.9% sure
The
that.
advice that he's given us so far, he's
Has been spot on.
Yeah.
And then REAP is December of 26. That is supposed to be finished to be able to collect that 75 from REAP. And then I haven't gotten the one for the REAP for the trail yet, but I would believe that will be December 27.
And Stacy, as you understand it, the decision to give us the extension is in the hands of supervisors.
Correct, yeah, that's,
It's
yeah.
not like at a federal level or
No,
something.
no, oh yeah, no, it is 100% the Dubuque supervisors. And they said they haven't done it, they've taken away money that they gave to one group out of all the groups they gave money to. And it's because there was nothing, it just never got started. The project that they went in for just never, they not only didn't show progress, it just never happened. Change in employment, change in whatever, just things happened. That the project never got started, was the old one. So everyone else they've continued to work with, he didn't see that changing.
I feel comfortable moving on.
I just, a screenshot of that to all your emails too, so.
Thank you.
What up?
And like she said, there are pieces on here that aren't done. There's a couple more trees that have to get taken down. Of course, we want to finish, like, there's definitely additional expenses that aren't going to be tens of thousands of dollars, but they're going to be there.
And we would build those and estimate those going into the budgeting process.
100%. Yeah.
To me, I think there's value if we can literally do the whole thing. Finish the pavilion, finish the parking lot, get the sidewalk, update the golf course. So we get toward the end of next year and it's fully done. It's wrapped up. That's what we need to purpose with each other that we want to do.
I think the biggest one is the REAP grant. We've had great luck the last 2
That
years
was
with
awesome.
it, and they don't see anything changing. It's a big push for trails. It's our push. Like, I could see us continuing to be able to write that, and I would hate to see something stall that to not receive those funds.
I think it's also important to remember too, that we finished this project, that only bodes well for the next
Right.
grant application, so it'll just build on itself. We should make great progress on it.
Any other questions on this at this time? I assume we're gonna wait and get a recommendation.
Yes, I'll have a recommendation one way or another for me anyway. So.
Okay.
They were hoping if next week you guys decide to move forward, they were gonna hope to start this fall and get the foundations in. And then in the spring, start the masonry, and didn't have any issues with timeline. They were very confident that they were sitting well with where they were at. So.
Can we have the recommendation by Tuesday, Mike?
I will do it tomorrow.
Okay,
Awesome.
perfect. So we'll have it at the meeting on Tuesday.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thanks for your help on this, Mike.
No problem. Thank you.
Anything else on that? All right. We'll move on. Sure, we can do that. We can do anything. Mike, would you like to? You asked me to come and kind of give us a what's what and how you guys are doing, and
Yeah,
and so we're gonna move you up on the schedule right now.
I appreciate that. Not that I don't enjoy your company.
Doesn't mean you get to leave.
Passing your table.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
Hopefully this is readable for everybody. First of all, I just want to say my name is Mike Wurtzer. I'm the fire chief of the fire department. Been on, well, I was on 38 years the first time, and I was off for 17. I'm back on for 4 or 5, whatever it is. The sheet I gave you is our calls from 24. That was last year. I hope my numbers there don't confuse you. I put some percentages there. On the right-hand side, for each, like Town of Graff, Centralia, Peosta, that's the percentage of the total. But then when I did Peosta, I did the percentage of EMS calls, which was 72% of all your calls. 16% were notifier smoke, which is pretty much business related. And then there were some other extras in there. So overall though, Peosta was 53% of our 257 calls. And that will continue to grow. In 2023, we had 233 calls. So we gained about 10% in 24. This year, we are at 219 as of today, on our second call today. The year started out, I thought it was going to be a really bad year. We had 29 calls in 31 days.
Oh, wow.
But that was that drive. We had a lot of grass fires and stuff. Thankfully, that slowed down. So what I did here on the bottom is I kind of tried to put an average number of people that were on a call. We're all volunteers. We all work somewhere. Well, most of us do. Some of us. So I figured an average of 3 hours per call. On a fire, that's not near enough. On an EMS, that's probably a little more than it's needed, but it averages out. So in 24, we had 1,394 responders. That's people. So if you were there, or it's 5.4 people per call, which is pretty dang good for a volunteer. 21.6 calls per month. And so if you took that 1,394 bodies, at 3 hours per call, that would be 4,182 calls or hours, I'm sorry. And if you did an average, that's just to put a number on it. If you did an average of $30 an hour, you're looking at $125,000 is what volunteers gave. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yes.
I also want to say thank you for having me. I took over as chief in January. I've been wanting to come, and we had an opportunity to talk. So, I don't know how long you want me to talk. How long? I got an hour. I don't think you guys do though. Just want to hit a couple things. We have a new truck coming that is going to be stationed here in Peosta, $600,000. This is a very bad picture. This is similar. You can pass around. I don't want it back. It was blown up, so it's a little pixely. That we're hoping to be able to replace that. That truck will replace too, the current pumper and our rescue truck, which is way underused. It's not full. So we're going to try to get rid of both of those and everything will be on here. It's a vehicle that is, normally our fire truck would be about $400,000. But because we're designating it to the town, set up for hydrants in the way we want it, but it's also going to have rescue. It's not going to just stay here. It can go out. But normally our pumpers are designed to be a tanker also, so we can dump the water quick. This does not have that capability. So any water that goes in or out has to be pumped one way or the other. So it's a little something different for us, but we figured 53% of our calls are here. So nursing homes, and I think you guys have already done some zoning for it or whatever. I just want to ask, please let us in on the beginning. A nursing home will add about 300 to 500 calls to us. So it will impact the department a lot.
So when you say nursing home, is that Cause I don't think it was necessarily a nursing home, that was discussion.
Senior living.
Won't be quite as bad, but it still will add, I'd say maybe 100 calls a year.
Yeah.
Depending upon how many apartments and whatever. Right now, Asbury, as a volunteer fireman, is over 800 calls a year. And they are trying to find paramedics to staff full time. Cascade, I talked to them about their calls, and I said, would 300 calls a year added cover it? And he said, no way.
Well, yeah, remember they got 2 homes down there or 1?
Yep,
Okay,
Two.
two.
so they have 2.
They got Riverbend and then JDO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure how many beds they are, but they're going there all the time. And Dyersville the same way with what they've got there. So I just asked to be included in those discussions. Appreciate that. The community supports us greatly. Our 2 main fundraisers for the firemen is the breakfast and the auction, and they both do great. That helps us a lot. Just so you guys know, basically we are one umbrella, but there's actually 2 entities under that. There's the main board who buys the trucks and repairs and all that. Then the firemen, we are the fundraiser guys. We actually, well, they're in the department's name, but the firemen actually paid for the ambulances. We run the ambulances. Any money's made, which that's the other thing about a nursing home. You're talking Medicare, Medicaid. If we made $200 a call, would be a lot, and then you don't get reimbursed for your supplies. So there's not a lot of money there. But the firemen all do that, and our fundraisers that goes towards maintenance, new vehicles. We're actually looking at another new ambulance to replace the one in Centralia. That's a 15, I think it is. 451 is a 22. So that's what our fundraisers are for. And we do appreciate the community a lot. My only other asking is if there's something we could do with the community center for the fire department. I know we're getting something now, but part of our requirements for the fire department, law-wise, is that we are supposed to have that access for the firemen to physical fitness stuff. And right now, I think we get a discount of $50 or something, whatever it is. But if the fireman goes once a week, the fire department is picking up what the other cost is. So to me, that's money that we're not spending on a vehicle or supplies or whatever. So I just ask if there's something that can be done there, we would appreciate it. We will. And other than that, unless you guys have questions.
I know 6 months ago, 8 months ago, you guys were struggling to find volunteers. Has that gotten any better or?
Okay, so the county actually spent or gave $25,000 to make some films and stuff. And I think you can go on the county website, and I think you can find it there. Otherwise, almost every department that has a Facebook thing, there's a click on it. You can go to it if you want to look at it. I don't know if it's that or exactly what's going on, but we have picked up 4 new. We are at 36 members right now. Our bylaws say we can only have 40.
So you're close.
But we were down to like 31 for a while. So many hands make light work.
Is there something in the law that requires you to stay at a 40 limit?
No,
Or is it just?
it's just a number that's been in the bylaws since, well, the department was formed in 47. So it's been there ever since. Yeah, we've redone them. It's just something that's been there and we've never exceeded it.
So,
You know, if we got to the point where we had more people, then, but that also helps you be a little more discerning.
Yeah.
on applications and that can be a pain in the butt sometimes too. But yeah, there's no reason for that. That was just a number that was picked out of the air. And that was back when it was just a fire, it wasn't EMS. So
A lot of other departments also have porting. that I know. There's a Cascade,
Yeah.
Epworth, they're all around that porting mark also.
I don't know where that number
Yeah, I don't-
came from.
yeah.
I mean, I've kind of been around a long time and I don't know.
136 members, are they all responding to calls?
So the 4 new ones, they are, first of all, they become probationary. They come for a month to meetings and drills. They can't partake to see if it fits. Then they are put on probation for a year and all they gotta do is say, I don't think I like this, or if they don't seem like they're a good fit, we can say, let's just end this. After a year, the requirement is they have to either become an EMT or they have to become, at least take firefighter 1 class. And if they don't, we can extend their probation. Or if they've taken those things and meet criteria, then they can become full voting members. So in their probation period, for the most part, they come to calls, but it depends upon what it is. We don't want them to participate too much because they don't have that knowledge at this point in time. So now we've gotten very lucky. We've gotten a couple nurses for EMS. They're on immediately. We have to get clearing from our medical officer, our
Medical director.
doctor, whatever, and which is Dr. Hunt. And she has to okay that, because a nurse's degree is a little bit different than a paramedic. And so there's a couple classes they have to take because they're allowed to do things in the field that they can in the hospital.
Right.
And so it takes a little bit more training, but essentially they are immediately on. So we've gotten lucky there.
As a curiosity, do you guys keep any statistics about response times to the different kinds of calls?
That's all part of our ISO rating, and our ISO rating is a 4. Part of that is from you guys too, because it's water supply dependent. And from there, it's our response times, our on-scene times on EMS especially, and things like that. There's a whole list of things that add to it. But we are a 4. Epworth is a 4. City of Dubuque is a 2. You can't get much better than a 4 without being paid full-time.
Full-time staff sitting there.
Yeah. So,
And I agree with them, like, we work very closely together with the fire department, police. Response times are fantastic. I'll tell you, when we're pumping on a chest or something like that, it's rough to do it by yourself, but their response time is very good. They're there within minutes to help us out. There's always somebody that lives either in town, close, you know, they work here. There's always somebody that's coming. So they're great to work with.
Great.
thank you.
Congratulations on that. That's great to hear.
So, any other questions? I would like to do this again sometime.
How often would you do? That was gonna be my question was, do you want to stop in every quarter
How
or?
often do you want me here?
Oh, you
I
kind
can
of,
always
because you
find-
still got 27 minutes left here. How often do you
talk about?
Yeah, I mean, this is good.
This is actually.
Yeah, so you want to try monthly
Sure.
and then just come to our work session like tonight
Yeah, now I might not have nothing to say,
and.
but you guys might have questions.
And then, yeah, we can just see how that goes. If it seems like you're just coming and seeing us do our thing,
Yeah,
which we know is absolutely fantastic. But
Mesmerized.
well, I can't argue.
I got a quick question. Chief Comer does a spreadsheet for us on like where your calls are located at,
The types of calls.
like the type of incident and stuff like that. Is that something that you guys,
That's kind of what that is.
it's very simple.
is similar to this?
It's just, I think, are you asking like on a monthly or quarterly basis?
I can just bring a report every
Yeah.
month. Yeah, that's not a problem. Is your meeting always this night?
First, it's the day before the
Second Tuesday.
Welcome to City Government 101. So there we go.
Reminder.
The next meeting is December.
Third.
Okay. As long as I know I put Santa Claus up here, right?
But your
Nice.
scheduler isn't around.
Who's my
Well,
schedule?
when
Oh,
we,
Megan.
yeah, when we talk, we're talking about when you're gonna be here. She's like, I've already got it in.
Well, yeah, when you and I talked, I left thinking it was last night.
Oh,
And she did correct me.
well, keep her around, I guess.
Yeah. Besides that, she's related to everybody.
Well, I appreciate it, Chief.
Yes, thank you. No problem.
Thank you.
I've been wanting to do this.
And thank all of your team from us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're really privileged to have the quality of the volunteers in the department. I don't think we underestimate that, so.
We don't take it for granted.
That's kind of why I wanted to start coming to the meetings a little bit.
Yep.
Because just so you guys know what we're doing.
So now, while Mike's here or Marcy, so the document that we put in our content, what are those numbers? Is that the funding that we're providing right now in the different areas?
That's our budget.
Okay,
Yeah, we just got a check from you for
That's
the
good
tax
to know.
base.
Yeah.
Good timing too, because the chassis is coming next week and we had to pay $300,000 yesterday. So.
And Mike, I still owe you, I was coming on an annual basis to give you updates. And your meetings are the same night as our planning and zoning.
Yeah.
So is there any other meeting that I have down there? Do you have like a director's meeting?
No,
Okay, so
No.
maybe I'll just find a light schedule with planning and zoning and I'll just.
yeah, whenever you can, just let me know. You have my email address, correct? Okay, so you can,
Yeah.
or you can send it to the chief's one too. That way, if I don't get it, that email is seen by myself and the two assistant chiefs. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Ladies.
Your time.
Oh, well, we're kind of roundabout. Head down.
Yeah, we're.
Where's anybody got a thing? Well, department head, let's just go back to where we were when we started on department head discussion. Casey?
Yeah, I guess, just a couple updates. The tile around the gym court, we did start, the process on Monday. Slow going. Yeah, it's very noisy. I think things are going slower than they perhaps wished. But it's a work in progress. I think the good news is when they took up the tile that was there, they didn't run into any issues, which was one of the hold your breath moments. So that's good. The adhesive that was on there is what they're having problems with to get it off. And so they've been working on that the last 2 days. They have more work to do on that. So the noise will continue. Regardless, it's not going to be done by Friday, but regardless, we are opening the gym for Friday. Open, it'll just be bare concrete instead of make sure it's safe, make sure everything's cleaned up before obviously they get in there. The chances are fairly good that they start again then on Monday. So we close that back portion again until they finish up. So I told him as soon as he knew an ETA to let me know so that I can continue to put it out there for people to know that we're down to one court. We haven't had further discussions in terms of what the plan is for the rest. Until this process is done, they get a good idea of what it took and what it will take to do the rest. So that's where we're at with that. And then we're still waiting for our new toy. Our new scrubber still isn't in. I reached out today. He doesn't have an update, so he reached out to the company. He's supposed to talk to me again tomorrow to see. So I should have an update by Tuesday for when it's going to be here. So, but yeah, other than that, just staying busy. Our volleyball leagues have started. Here. Yeah. Tonight it's actually a men's volleyball. I don't think they just started at 6:30. So, but yeah, so it's been good.
Excellent.
Sounds like basketball.
So it's half and half right now. So men's volleyball, one half.
Got it. 30 years.
That's a tough sport.
Right. Paddle.
Touche.
Dean.
Sure thing. Extremely busy time right now, trying to transition between seasons. Trying to button some things up before, the winter months roll around here. What I mean by transitioning, we got sludge to haul yet before we can put the salt spreaders on. We've got compost to clean up at the site yet before we can put the spreaders on for the winter months. Also get compost cleaned up there. I did talk to the grinder company. They actually wanted to come last Friday. I told them it was a little bit too early for us yet. There's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done throughout the town. So he thought it would be within the next 2 to 3 weeks, so which would be pretty much perfect timing. Hopefully we can get the site cleaned up by then. I've been trying to get buttoned up on these development projects, which seem to be coming to an end. I did talk to the contractors on the north development, residential development up there. They did put the binder lifts on. Gonna hold off till spring, early summer to do the surfaces on the streets up there. So that's probably some streets that we're not gonna maintain throughout the winter. Considering that the surface lift is not put on, we don't want to damage the gutter lines. So that was made pretty clear with the developer and with the contractors on that project. So, and they were both okay with either direction that it went, and both supported the fact that the surface would be a better product at the end if we did it next spring or early summer. So that's the route we're gonna take on that one. So probably not gonna see a whole lot of, like I say, maintenance as far as snow removal or such on that project up there. Still pretty much on track with Uliana, hoping to be by Thanksgiving, the weekend of Thanksgiving. So hopefully that holds true here if the remaining utilities get put in place, which seem to be on track. So, but yeah, just a lot going on, trying to button up between the winter months approaching us. So it's kind of where we're at. Questions or concerns from anybody?
Chief? With the announcement of Juliana being opened up in a couple of weeks.
We're gonna have the speed.
Are you
signs
gonna be
there.
out there? And you're gonna be out there? Do I need to be out there with my hairdryer?
Yes. Do you want to be?
I could be.
I can give you a real one if you want. As soon as I get open, my guys.
all heard that, right?
As soon as it's open, yeah, our guys will be out there enforcing it and making sure that it gets stored through there. We'll also try to get a speed sign at least on one side, if not both sides, to start with. We do have that battery operated one.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then we have the other one that's on, Peosta. That one would be able to tell us the exact speeds. The battery operated one does not. It just shows the sign speed. So we'll be able to flip flop them and give you some indications of how it's going. And yeah, we'll have some enforcement.
Straight now.
You got it. Yeah.
Christmas Day.
What else you got?
I got a feel good story for you. So
All right.
we got a minute. So you guys ever hear of ATM jackpotting?
Yes.
Okay, so if you don't know what it is, ATM jackpotting is where these criminals are coming in and basically what they're doing is they're lifting the hood of the ATM machine. They're pulling a chip out basically, and they're restarting an already reprogramming the chip and putting it back in. And then as soon as they do that, the money spits out. Okay. So this past week, it's been around the area. There's been some activity of ATM jackpotting, mostly in Dubuque. I mean, it's been hitting the county. But lately, I don't know if you've heard it on the news, it's been hitting Jackson County. It's just kind of all over. It's actually nationwide. The reason I'm bringing it up is just this past weekend, Daresville and Farley got hit with the ATM jackpotting. And it was good police work is what I'm bringing up. So Daresville contacted us and said, here's the information, what we got. Here's the suspect vehicles. Here's the suspects that we think who they are. They got the intel to us. Got it out to our overnight guys. Long story short, Saturday night, our overnight guys were out, saw the vehicles in Peosta. What we did surveillance on the vehicles, and that was a red flag basically. As soon as the guys told dispatch, hey, we got those vehicles in town, it was just all law enforcement like, we're ready, we're pouncing on. So what happened was they got a drone in the air, sheriff's office got a drone in the air and followed the vehicles because we didn't know where they were gonna go. Suspicions that they could have hit Peosta, obviously, but what they were doing, they were at the quick stop, basically unloading their car and putting certain people in with certain vehicles. They had their game plan, what they were doing. So we thought maybe they were gonna hit Darsville Farley and finish it off there. Well, we had, and it was great teamwork from Dubuque County Sheriff's Office to City Dubuque. Had investigators, and their undercover cars, undercover officers come out, followed the suspects. We thought they were gonna go to Darsville Farley. They did not. They kept going west, ended up in a town called Earlville, which is in Delaware County, just the next town over from Darsville. They ended up hitting that ATM at that bank there. And that's when the swarm came in. They ended up arresting them, and it all started, in all honesty, because of our overnight shift, saw them, was observant, saw them, and, you know, we knew they were in the area, but it all started off of that. So kudos to our night guys on that aspect. But four for sure got arrested out of that, just in the Earlville one. There's another group supposedly got in an accident by Galena, took off, and I believe they're apprehended. They were national, so ICE was contacted, and the deportation is coming their way on that. Also charges also. So just kind of give you a heads up that it does happen in small towns, and more than likely it's going to happen in small towns. And, you know, yes, it was happening in Dubuque, but it's happening nationwide. These individuals that we caught were actually part of, Texas had federal warrants for them, for a lot of the crime that happened in Texas. I know it happened in New York, Illinois. I mean, basically nationwide, just on these four individuals. So what happened was Dubuque contacted basically a national group, basically of law enforcement, saying, "Hey, here are suspects. Here are the vehicles." And all of a sudden, ding, 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 you know, everybody started chipping in, saying, "Hey, these are our guys. These are our guys." So by getting them, it solved a lot of the crime nationwide. So,
Awesome.
so I just wanted to throw that at you.
Kudos.
Very good. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks, chief.
Can I
Yeah.
do one more addition? That's
Sure.
sort of mine slash
already went.
November. I know, 11.
You know how strict we are.
So ironically, it was gonna be Jake.
Yeah, look at
I was
it.
gonna
Jake's
say,
like,
he's trying
just-
to leave, so that's what it was. So I know we talked about million, but on the next meeting, we do have it on for passing the engineering for the parking lot and the trail for Kelly Oaks. Do we have any questions? I think that's the reason Jake came tonight is do we have, I know initially we thought it was a lot of money and then we kind of, once we talked about it, we were good. But does anyone have any questions on it for Jake? Or we're good with
She's
answered? Okay,
his written response, which I
Okay.
appreciated, Jake.
okay,
Yeah, anytime.
okay. All right, perfect. That was it. Thanks, Jake.
Bye, Jake.
Stacy, since you retook the floor, can I ask you a
Yeah,
question?
yeah,
Can I do that, Mr. Mayor? Can I do that?
Yeah. Work session.
Given the, you know, the information that Fire Chief presented, do you know off the top of your head, what is our discount structure that we do for the fire volunteers?
Yeah, so when we discussed it last time, when they brought it up, we offered them the cheapest average is a 10% corporate discount is what we offer them.
Okay,
So it's more than $50 off. I think it's $250, $300 off our
say it
annual.
again.
It's like $200 off our normal annual cost. So it's not free. I mean, that's not,
Right,
when we talked about it, I mean, I don't know what your guys' thoughts are. I know we discussed it downstairs. I just don't.
I mean, I know
38.
they're not city employees, but is this the kind of thing we could think about in a different way? And like, look at our benefit structure that we do for city employees and discuss whether or not we could do something like that for these. We have the tools.
3 years ago, I think it was. When
Yeah, I
they
mean, we
came in and
definitely
asked
just
us
talked about it.
At one point.
Yeah, because at that point, we helped with advertising, put advertising on TVs. We did, a lot of stuff. A discounted membership, but yes, it wasn't a free membership.
Right.
So,
We don't do any free, right? But city employees have a benefit and
correct. Correct.
I think this would be something that you would have to take to your park
yeah,
board.
we have a board too, PCC.
And I did last time, and that was the answer that came back, but I can 100% bring it again and see if there's any type of whatever. I mean,
36 people. We're not talking about
36 families.
well, so that's the next thing too, single versus family and how that would be shaped if that was treated.
Well, and if we're trying to take care of the firefighter,
Trying to take care
the
of them.
EMS, it's like we could talk about it to the individual and then
They pay the difference.
the other discount structure for families.
Yeah.
Or something, and It does seem like something, well, we have a fixed asset in place, you know, there's,
And it doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, it's not, the fire department isn't asking a lot from us.
no.
I mean, what I understand from other communities, their investment to the fire department is a heck of a lot more than we are.
I don't think it's a big ask at all.
Yeah.
And they can just, if they want the family memberships, they can just make up the difference.
You know, and maybe that's an incentive. I mean, Peosta is gonna grow quickly, continue to grow, right? So it's like, at some point, they're probably gonna need to go past that 40 and that other thing, and that could help with recruiting.
We're gonna be
obviously
going
helps with
past that
fitness.
53%, their call.
Yeah, we're gonna be, I'm
we
surprised,
won the
53%, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the work will get harder if we do senior communities and things like that.
Yeah.
10 to 12.
It's very minimal. Okay.
know him, you love him. Steve,
Come out.
you're up.
Thanks for all this other stuff, because I didn't want to follow the cool drone law enforcement.
Right? What are you?
Jeez. To do something special, fireworks, or I don't know. Like, that's a-
Just do it right.
Yeah, right. I would love to. They had a drone.
What's that?
So they had a.
Start.
Yeah, then drawn up all the dates.
Or the GIS.
The GIS.
County and city, they both can both have ones.
So it was a drone. I rocked it. So I apologize for not making it the last 2 months. Last month, my wife lost her best friend and we had flat Pennsylvania. It actually gave me time to do a little bit more work even. So this is something, when did we start this? 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Two.
Annette came to me and said, you know, we really need to do some improvements with our mapping, specifically in GIS. She had some pretty good experience from her previous employments of some pretty robust GIS systems. GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems. Essentially, it's smart maps. And I've been in this business 30 years and we've been dealing, GIS has been around that whole time. And for a long time, it's been this thing that cities had to invest this, you know, tens of thousands of dollars in software that they didn't use enough to actually warrant buying it, but you had to buy it in order to use the GIS. And so I've been looking for years for something that's just simple, because what most cities what like you guys is you want a simple map, you want zoning, you want some simple interface stuff. It doesn't have to be a $100,000 investment. Since when I started working with the city of Gothenburg probably 8 years ago, they had this diamond maps, they called it. I'd never heard of it. And they gave me a password to it, and I still have a password to it. It's how I get in here. And I'm like, this is exactly what communities your size have been looking for. And so when Annette brought that up, I'm like, I'd love to try this with you guys, because I've seen how I used it in Gothenburg. I see how the city used it, and they've even evolved and done some other things here. So what our approach was on this was Annette said, I've got $30,000 this year to start this thing. What can that get done? And I said, it could get a lot done. You know, this is a pretty big effort of data gathering. You go out there and you locate all the features of your I don't know how far it'll go. You never know. It takes me 3 hours to locate a manhole. It's pretty hard to estimate that, right? So usually how I've approached this is, give me your budget. We'll try to make it stretch as far as we can, which is why this has taken a couple of years. I've been using interns. I've even been paying for some of it myself, just because there's a benefit to us. And so you guys, some of you met my daughter, you met her boyfriend. They did some work for me in the past. It's them that's been working on this. So I've actually recruited them back here for a few months to try to advance that. They needed some things to do. So what I wanted to do tonight is just to kind of show you what it is, where it's going. It's grossly incomplete, because like I said, it's a big effort over a period of time. And what you find is that you take the information you've got now, you make it as accurate as possible. And every time Dean digs something up or we learn something else, you make it more accurate. You take a shot, and eventually you have a survey grade GIS system where you have northings and eastings on everything. What our big effort was to go out there. I took our survey crew, the interns, Carson Merton was one of them. And we were out there with GIS just shooting everything. So we've got all of your features surveyed right now. And then we took the existing maps you had and really traced them in. And I'll show you a couple things that we have yet to do with that to hone in on it. But if you want to click on the Peosta, actually, I'll take the mouse. I'm telling you what to do. And I tried, and you guys realized when you came in, this was all set up in a nice horseshoe. I screwed up. I came in, I'm like, I'm gonna help you guys out, put the room back together. Expect to show up up here. So I'll invite you down here to see this, because it's gonna be probably smaller than you care to squint at. So you can see I've got sewer water and storm sewer for the city, among some other things. So right away, you see the hydrants, you see the valves, and you see a bunch of water lines. Those water lines represent different diameter mains that are out there. And you zoom in, and it gives you a little bit more granularity. I can zoom so far out that you lose the aerial map. So, but what we focused on mostly right now is we started in the neighborhood across the street. And mainly because we had good plan sets, we had some pretty good information over there. I'm going to just kind of give you an example of the type of information that we have in here. I will open up Guttenberg's and show you what they've done, because I think they've done some neat things. If I click down here, it shows a water valve and it shows hydrants. All right, so this is at the corner of Maple Ridge and Burns. I can click on hydrant and you can see I've got a northing and easting. I also have an elevation up there. So this is a bad example, but a water valve, let's say Dean needed to go find a water valve and it's under 6 feet of snow. We could technically go out there and go right to that point and know where to locate that. So that's quite helpful. We also, while we were out there, took a picture of every one of these features as well. So you have a documented history of the condition on this particular date. And so that comes in useful when you're trying to do asset management, and do some planning for, say, replacements. On the water valve, you'll find something similar, the same north eastings. You'll also see the photos of that particular valve out there, to document condition. One of the things I should note with this is the goal here eventually would to give your public works staff probably iPads that when they're out there, they can open this up, they can take a photo and it goes right to where it needs to be at that time. Because a lot of times you have something dug up, it's located, you want to document it why it's open. And then you continually get more refined information, more accurate information. One of the things that I really like about this too is I just clicked on this segment of water main between Callbridge and Burns. And in there, we've taken the particular plan set sheets that pertain to that segment of the road. And you have them there. So this is quite helpful if Dean's out there, anybody's out there. It's really helpful to me for me to go, if we're doing a project, this plan set's memorialized forever. You know, it won't fade in the computer. It won't get wet. It won't go away. It won't walk away. It's really a good records retention tool. And so you'll notice a couple things. This is what I wanted to point out as far as the refinement. So these are actual locations, but the water lines don't go through them because the water lines were really put in schematically. And one of the next efforts we'll have is we'll go and we'll drag these to where they need to be, going through those particular those valves. There's still a little bit of inaccuracy as it relates to the aerial photograph, but it's close enough to give you an idea of what side of the road it is on. So this isn't a survey guy. What would you call it? Part of an accurate base map, an accurate aerial.
Survey.
It's not survey guy. Survey guy.
Who are we talking to?
Not me.
He knows.
We've established. Go ahead, survey guy.
So it's a Google Earth image. It's not an aerial photograph. How about that? So there's a limitation on the accuracy there. There's a lot of tools you can do that if you're on the county site, they look very similar, right? You got a measuring tool. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can change some layers. If I wanted to just hone in on hydrants or a particular diameter water main, I can toggle those on and off. So you can see where that would be quite useful. And you guys probably saw Thompson coming here at 7 o'clock. You're like, we're not going to get out of here till 10. So I'll try to go as quickly as I can. Sanitary sewer. This is not the town that we're in, right? Wrong city. Same thing here. We've got manholes. We've got sewer lines. We did a similar level of effort with this as we were talking about with the water. So in this case, it's a sanitary sewer manhole. We can come up with a unique numbering system for everything that's logical for Dean. So that you know if, this is obviously 60,019, that's a survey point, but if Dean wanted to call that manhole 10, we could come up with a numbering system that's a little bit more logical and useful. I click on the attachment here. This is the manhole. So another thing we did is we actually did a condition assessment of every manhole that was out here. You can see the date that it was done. There's a lot of background information here. Talks about, we have the elevation of the manhole. This particular one, for whatever reason, didn't have an invert, but most of them have a measure down to the particular pipe that's in there. So we know the elevation structure and how deep the pipe is that's coming and going. We also took a photo. You can see the date, the time, and the location. Couple different photos of, this must be a clean out, Dean, huh? Looks like a clean out, that would be why. But you have this type of documentation now that'll live forever. Continuing to do condition assessments, you can put that in there. Maybe one, see if a different manhole here has. No. There you go. Got a rim elevation, and we have the depth to the invert. So it's very useful for me as a design engineer, knowing what I'm tying into, how deep is that particular manhole. Also particular helpful to anybody that wants to tie into the sewer if they're building a house, whatnot, they can see the depths of what they're dealing with there. But you can see again, we took a photo of the inside of the manhole. These directional arrows are depicted up here to show you what you're looking at. A little bit more there. Probably didn't get a waiver from whoever's sitting in this photo, but hopefully they that. And hopefully we didn't document any OSHA violations, but anyhow, that's kind of the sanitary sewer portion of this.
Steve, while you're pulling that up, I think that the value behind this is like when Dean's crew is out there and we have a water main break. I mean, they can take the pictures, they can document, what if they put a sleeve on it, the day, and it's just real valuable. And also, I mean, to sit down with a developer.
Yeah, this is what we have.
Yeah, this is great, rather than calling Steve and saying, hey, where's the water line running? What's the diameter?
So we can also put any sort of customization on these fields here, as I understand it. This is just what comes out of the box. So we could, it's likely a PVC that's out there. We can type any description. I like to have length in there if we have it. It's nice to have slope. It's nice to have some information there. One of the things that we haven't put in for you guys yet is, has this line been televised? Because we can actually attach the televising file right to this segment as well, so that if Dean wanted to look and see what that looked like at the time of televising, he doesn't have to scroll through things. You go click on that segment of pipe. And so you can see the time savings it would be to try to find that televising, that plan sheet, all of the information that probably would take him the better part of a few hours to track that down if need be.
Dean, is it cloud-based?
This is cloud, it's all cloud-based. Yeah, It's all housed in the cloud. You can define security rights, who you want to access what, when we get to zoning, you might want to allow the public to see zoning, but you definitely don't want them to see your infrastructure, but you might want to have your engineer be able to see your infrastructure. So you can regulate, the access through the security levels. The right city this time. Storm sewer is probably the least refined at this point. We did shoot all of the discharge points, but we don't have pipe assessments, diameters, those type of things. So again, same kind of information with elevation, northings and eastings. See the assessment here describing where everything was flowing. Then we also took some photos, condition. So a lot of good captured data. Back to the last thing that we did for you at this point is your zoning map. Pretty easy to change this as you change things, but zoomed out here, we don't have the aerial. You get a little tighter. It kind of shows you the parcels and what their particular zonings are with the legend. We could put some intelligence to this if you want. I click on this. There isn't much here, but sometimes you want to know what's the area of that. Is that how many square miles you have of R1, R2, those type of things.
Steve, can we actually add the ordinance for like a zoning change and?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this has the same functionality here. If we wanted to put attachments to it, yep. And that would be quite helpful. So that's what we've got done for you at this point. I want to show you a couple things with Guttenberg that's somewhat unique that I thought was pretty cool. And I think would be quite helpful. I go to the general one here, and this is all quite a little bit new to me. They've really done some neat things here. They must have a work order system up there where it's color coded, and the public works director assigns various projects to people. There is I can move this here. The legend is, this is a planned work order. It's been started, it's completed, or it's been approved and accepted. And it's anything and everything. A restaurant cutout, I don't know what that is. That makes sense. Of course, I'd click on one that I don't know what it is. Pretty much how it works. Fixed northwest lights on tennis courts assigned to somebody named Blake. And he can give updates as far as what's going on with this. I thought this was really unique use of this and kind of neat. Somebody's looking for something to do, you tell them to go look at the work orders. Snowplow routes was new to me. I suspect there's different people that are assigned different routes, and that can change. And so this was neat as well. They clearly contract to spray various things. This is what you're spraying for. I suspect you could tell who the contractor is that's supposed to be doing those things. They clearly did a street condition assessment at some point and entered those in, which would be quite helpful for me if I was helping prepare a capital improvements plan. Sidewalk deficiencies, tree deficiencies, street painting, park inventory, street sign inventory. So, you're only limited by what you can imagine it to do. And so this is a really affordable thing. It's subscription based. So apparently I get it for free. They make money off of you guys subscribing to it, but it's not that much. I mean, I want to say it's $1,000 a year. Maybe it's between 500, depending upon, and it's based upon how many people you want to give access to. So this was the thing that I've been looking for a long time for clients, because for not a lot of money, you get a lot of use out of it.
And the two cities that I have the experience with, the first city was 100,000. The second city was 75,000.
Wow.
For something very similar. In fact, this has more functionality to it.
Way more, yeah,
Right.
way more. So it's evolved and gotten cheaper. But those programs, that's a lot of what Annette used was like an ArcView product. It's made by ArcGIS. It is highly complicated, cool stuff, very powerful, but it's really meant for the Dubukes of the world that have GIS staff in it every day. And otherwise you get the training, you spend tens of thousands of dollars in training and you lose it. And then you stop using it because it's overwhelming. I mean, you just saw me fly through this thing and I'm the dumbest person in the room. It's pretty simple, right? So.
I'm impressed. I'm geeking out on it. I don't understand it. So I can only imagine how Dean feels.
Well, I think, he and I sat in your office that day and went through this and, I started racing. And it's just, again, I think you start doing something, you think, well, I wish it would do this, or I wonder if it could do this. Probably, yes. And then, like that list of things in Guttenberg, that has multiplied by 10 times since the last time I looked at it. And so clearly they're evolving with it.
So who updates it? I'm just curious, is it you that would update this, or like would Dean?
We all can. You could define, you could define who you want to give write access to. I would say that is, the onesie twosie things, it's like I see something. If there's some mass project, it's probably better to have an intern do it or somebody like that, because your guys don't have time to do it. You could save it up. If it's not critical, maybe you get an intern to say, hey, update all these things with our help.
And that's all kind of part of the subscription is what you're saying too? That
Oh, yeah.
You would be able to update?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody you choose to have read write access can update it. I mean, Mike, you got days off, couple days a week. Right. I mean, right.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
But that's fine. Subscription is more of a data housing.
Frustrating.
Anything for you other than house the data.
Gotcha.
So are there a lot of cities that are using this, and has the company been around a long time?
It's been around a long time. They haven't been able to penetrate Iowa very much because there are some other firms and companies that do this. Namely we all use the Beacon site for the county. I mean, that company's been sold a couple times and they were first to the trough and they owned this market for a long time. Well, they haven't been able to get into this type of infrastructure at this level. So.
Great.
I mean, I did some for Farley. Again, it helped me as much as anything. You guys, here's your data, the work's here. And then, Guttenberg was one that turned me on. And then we've got some clients down around Des Moines that are starting to use this as well.
Completion date?
With what?
And what's left on the.
But what's your
storm
interest
sewer
time
or
left?
something?
Well, I define done for me.
No.
That's the problem. It's never going to be done, but what's
Money we have.
what's the level of functionality you want to get to, right? So I was telling Annette before you guys got here, well, I told you guys too, I hired my daughter's boyfriend back and soon in Iowa State. I'm going to have him just keep plugging away and cleaning this up and just continue to refine it. And it's largely going to be on my dime. I mean, you guys have paid us a nice amount of money to do this. You can see what you got for it. It's a lot of field effort. But there's the cleanup part is kind of just fine detail work that I don't want to do. So I let a student do it. So.
Well, a lot of the cleanup work is going to be on our part as well as we identify things.
Right. Ultimately, that's what, if you guys have some days that it's not snowing and you don't have to mow and there's nothing.
True. There's at least half of that day somewhere.
Right. So that couple hours in February, but.
Couple hours later.
It's only as good as the information that was put in.
Right.
Right. And so.
And if it gets maintained.
But Dean might be looking at this or someone else is like, well, that ain't an 8-inch, that's a 6-inch and it's over here. All right, well, let's change it because it's just constantly going to be refined and become more accurate.
Thank you for your input on that, Nathan. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I get all fired up about this because if every city had this, it'd make my life easier. One of the first jobs I had when I moved back here from the east side of Wisconsin back in the mid-90s was doing some work with the city of Galena. And there was an old guy there that had all this stuff in his head and he had no intention of getting it out of it. That was his job, and he died.
And then they had no
And so we spent years trying to comb through this stuff and find where everything was at. You can imagine a city the age of Galena, there's things we never found. It was all.
Where everything was.
So that's the other benefit that you get to this, is this information lives on forever.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, without that. Yeah.
All right.
It's my duty. It's impressive.
Look, I have Steve Thompson up next.
Hey, you won't stop. So lift station project out in the lagoon. I understand there's some movement out there. Dean and I had some conversation this summer about when do you start this thing, right? And there's a couple different forces at work. You know, you go get a permit. A permit lasts only so long. You can ask for extensions, but you want to really get the permit in hand when you know you're going to move forward with the project. So that was one factor. The other one is there's, supply chain issues in the world still hasn't been resolved. So some of the equipment, especially the controls, occasionally a generator if you need it, there's this huge long lead time. So you could build a lift station, have it already, but you can't control it. Everything's there. So it's this balancing act between when do you start it, but I want to start it soon enough so that I have the control. So when I want to use it, it's there. I think we need to start it now. I mean, you have the SRF loan is sitting there. There's obviously some interest out there moving forward. I think we should probably begin to finalize the permitting process and get bidding rolling on it. So that just knowing that this is probably a 12 to 14 month thing. I know, again, there's some interest in the building getting up there, and there's this concern of, will there be sewer service if the building beats us there? Building probably ain't gonna beat you there. But if it does, what do you do temporarily? There's a couple different options. One, you could put in a little residential lift station, call it temporary, because this is the solution, the big lift station. I've got some scar tissue with those that once you put them in, they're hard to take out. And then somebody else says you let one there, and all of a sudden before you know it, you got 10 of them. And how do you unwind that? So it's an option, but we'd have to put some guardrails around that to make sure that it's just that it's absolutely temporary, that we don't put another one in. Another option would be to put in a septic tank, a holding tank, and then they just have to have a pump for a period of time. It's my understanding the building that's being proposed out there is just going to have a couple stools in it. It's not a huge water user. It's just the employees using the restroom. So it's not going to be a huge generator of waste, not a huge user of water domestically. So I think that would be a better option. It's probably cheaper, definitely less to maintain, and it's something that's almost throwaway or could be reused. That'd be my preference. I don't know how you felt about those two options. Temporary service at that building.
I guess my question on the septic tank, would our permit, would the DNR allow us to go that route?
Yeah, it's a temporary hold. It's called a temporary holding tank. It's not a septic tank. It's not a septic system. It's a holding tank for us to be able to allow the building to be functional until we got the lift station.
Do they define temporary? Like,
What's that?
do they define temporary?
Not really. I mean, there's a little common sense applied to it. There has to be some assurances on our part that it will be taken out as soon as the service is there.
But
Yeah, I mean, on top of that, we would have to have some definites as far as what the discharge is gonna be.
100% what the flows
How much
are.
maintenance is actually gonna be there. Because
Yeah.
obviously it's.
But I would keep it their responsibility. I mean, it becomes our problem if there's an overflow in a way, but it's still theirs. I mean, it's still their service. We're just allowing them to do that.
Right, but they would be relying on us, I would assume, that they would want to discharge in our system, bring it up to the plant.
Yeah,
Would
you'd
be
have to allow that, yeah. I'm assuming you've got a manhole up there that they could dump into.
We do.
Yeah.
Can we go to the GIS?
Oh, look at that.
What?
We can look on the GIS.
Where it's-
Yeah.
Should have, yes.
You weren't here for that presentation.
Who was that guy?
That's awesome.
But you don't feel that the building's gonna beat us there.
Here. And now from times in my career, there's this hurry up, we're gonna put the building up, and we always be something that comes up on their end. So I understand the hurry up. Everyone's anxious, and occasionally it happens, more times than not, there's a delay or a cancellation or whatever, but So I don't get too excited. As long as we have a plan A and a plan B.
All right, any other questions for Steve? Sure.
Yeah, how long did I
Last-
take? Half an hour. I'm 50% of your meeting. I knew you don't want to see me coming at 7:00.
Good stuff.
Really appreciate.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate everything. Let's see, where'd that put us? November 11th and 25th, or, yeah, let's just do that. For Tuesday's meeting.
So those lots A, B, C, D, E, Callahan Development, that's the small lot in between.
Yeah, there is
Trail
actually,
stuff.
have out on the draft, I've got a map and it's got the color coded, it'll show you all the lots, and then I also put the development agreement out there that says he is donating or deeding those over to us.
Okay.
I've got all the tax records out there showing that he's already paid taxes for March, or
Good.
excuse me, September, so we don't owe anything until March. And Dubuque County has told me that they are lumping all of the tax abatements into like a quarterly meeting. So this is not gonna happen next month,
All right.
but we need to get that
We can do
resolution in
that,
front of
okay.
them so that they can put it on their agenda.
You. We're not going to do anything with the hen ordinance at this time.
Correct.
Yeah. It's gonna sit until we bring it back.
Maybe not you, Jeff, but I'll-
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is appropriate for the public session, but we do have some homeowners that have. Probably need to do something with them because they're out of compliance with our
Well, I think
existing,
were they all grandfathered in?
I don't know that.
We don't know the dates of when.
Marcy says, no, we don't know, or they weren't all grandfathered.
I don't think that, we know, the one gentleman, I don't think even owned that house at the time that he put his, at the time that we started that ordinance, the one over here.
I believe both of them that didn't have the hens until this year.
Okay, so like it's
So the other ones that we don't know about that may have them, I would say at this point, if they had them prior to 2022, then I would say, without legal advice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just that we were heading down a process where those people were gonna have to go to Board of Adjustments because of the current rules that we have in the books. If we have an intention that we're gonna still bring it back to deal with it, one way or the other, it'd be nice to, tell them, extend it or something. I don't know what's legal and possible for us.
No, and I'm fine with that,
Job, just tell them, hey, this is getting moved to.
Yeah,
It's gonna be readdressed after the first.
yeah, again, to not like have to rework and redo, with them or whatever.
happy to reach out to them.
Thank you.
You bet.
Good.
Anything else on the two agendas? Next up, we have the Slavic development discussion.
Was there anything on the second meeting of the month that you wanted to touch upon? There's really not that much out there. There never typically is.
Is there a reason that Jason's not coming for GDDC and we have,
Rick is
Someone else?
retiring.
is that why he's
So I
coming?
think,
to
yeah,
do it?
he's waiting and,
He's going on his retirement tour.
yes.
Oh,
Okay. I didn't know if we were gonna have to talk about our annual contribution or something like
No,
that.
no. This is just Rick
Coming.
coming to thank the communities for,
oh,
working with GDDC for,
Good.
30, 40 years, however long he's been with
Yeah.
GDDC.
Said, hey, we want to get on your agenda. He wants to visit.
Very good.
Thank you.
Retirement.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
so the Slav.
Okay.
Brian and Jeff meeting with him, coordinated by Lexi. I think everyone's got it.
Lexi?
Mhm.
Trying to remember when that was.
It's like
Hopefully,
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Does everybody have
We'll say is that.
our summary notes, or do we just kind of speak?
I would sign
out
out
loud?
loud, buddy, just cause.
Okay.
Sign to it now.
Maybe what we do is we just share,
How much
we just share at a conceptual level, our discussion, or, I mean. You want me to jump in? You want to jump in?
Yeah, I
What do you
don't-
think?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start.
And chime in, we met, Jeff and I met with Slavic, his wife Juliana, and Tony Notterman at one of their properties. It was an opportunity for us just to meet in person, and he requested an audience just so he could share some of his thoughts. We did not go into it with an agenda. I don't know that he necessarily went into it with an agenda. We told him ahead of time, we're just gonna listen. So that's what we did. I would characterize the meeting as really interesting, and that the tone was professional and appropriate. And I mean, I appreciated the chance to hear kind of from his voice some of the things that he was concerned about, some of the things that he was thinking about. So he cited several examples over the years where he felt like he worked really productively with the city, and changed his priorities and his efforts of what he was working on and when, based on the city asking him to work with us. A couple, the big one that popped out to me was that his original development, his original phase 5 was gonna be Thunder Valley Road, which is obviously in, and that's where the commercial lots are and things where the apartments are going. That was gonna be the 5th phase of a 5-phase thing. So the housing would have been done first, and people were down there, and then he developed the commercial area. Well, he pivoted that, and it turned out to be his 2nd phase, because we wanted an east-west road corridor. So I'm doing the best to, so we put a big investment in there to do that, obviously, kind of a city encouragement, because we wanted that east-west traversing across town. And Uliana was, a provisional road that I think probably Mr. Spiegel originally put in, and it got ripped in and out a few times, and that whole bit. But when it didn't exist, people were screaming that they had to go out to the highway, and we all understand that. So he brought that up as like working with the city in good faith. And it cost him a lot of money to put it in there, and it cost him a lot in terms of timing and things to market the commercial properties, because the people aren't there yet, if that makes sense. According to Mr. Slavic, he agreed, his original plan for Thunder Valley Drive, if I understood this, Jeff, was all apartments.
That was what he was.
His original, his concept, not necessarily anything that the city approved. His original desire and concept was 24 lots, and then in discussion with the city, and I believe he said it was Whitney, it might have even been before Whitney, it might have been Karen. It was like, he agreed, he'd build apartments on 15 lots, and the remaining 9 would be commercial, and the 9 are the ones that are further west, right, where we have some of the development now.
We still
5
have
and
4 open.
yeah, Sister Sweat. I guess he said it was with Whitney. It was sort of a verbal conversation, as I understood it, that you can build 15 and reserve 9 for commercial. And it's really those remaining 15 that, his desire in a perfect world is he would like to build apartments on all of those.
His remaining, what's he got, 7 or 6 lots left that he
Yeah,
wants
he's
to
looking at
continue.
remaining 6. He knows the zoning in place, and obviously that's being contended with the administrative process and stuff that's going on. But that was what he thought conceptually was gonna happen, and obviously we've changed the zoning, and that's not happening at this point. He referenced a couple times where he reopened and kept the provisional Uliana Drive in there, and then built the Thunder Valley Drive a lot earlier. The COVID downturn of the economy and commercial property desirability that really set him back with the ability to market those properties and sell them. And he's relayed that to us before. His desire to build 15 lots and the remaining 9, he's able to and willing to and would enjoy sitting on the 3 lots that are on the west end for as long as needed to make those all become commercial businesses. But the challenge is, as he related to us, for him is a financial one. So he's sitting on a substantial static investment. I don't want to quote the number because I don't know that it was his number. I don't know if it's accurate, but let's just say in between $1 and $2 million investment on the remaining lots that are static. That he's not able to develop on unless he sells them to commercial things and they're not moving. And the interest on the loan and the debt that he took, he told us was in the neighborhood of $100,000 a year. And he's at a position where he can't afford to and or doesn't want to continue to carry the interest on that debt without either building on it so he can generate revenue to help, or without selling it to get, selling the remaining properties and things, or even his potential, his whole development, like with the apartments that are already built, so he can get out from under the debt. And then he'd move his development efforts to the things that he could develop, places he could develop. Like he said, he's developing and he's building some apartments in Dubuque and other places. So he could generate a return on that static investment that he's not generating return on. So
Basically put it as he wants to get some stuff done so he can retire.
yeah.
And not just sit on.
I think he relayed to us that the apartment thing was part of his retirement plan. He'd build them out and that would provide annuity income for him to live on and whatnot. So he's got some fixed time frame in his head that he wants to be able to develop and generate income, for his business and himself. And the big investment in Thunder Valley is static and costing him a lot of money that he can't afford to do. So, I'll just relay what he said his priorities were. His first priority would be he'd like to build apartments on the remaining 6 lots. And he knows that right now that's right in contention and he can't. Or his next priority then would be, if I can't do that, then I'd sell the whole investment to somebody else. And he at least claimed that he's had at least a few offers in the past
pretty decent offers
year or two from, investment outlets or equity firms or whatever that would buy the whole thing. And then whatever they would do with it within zoning, who knows? But, that's one of his options to sell to get out from under the loan and the interest. And then he threw out the idea like, well, maybe the city wants to buy the remaining 6 lots and sit on them and eventually do whatever they want to do to develop it. That wasn't so that'd be something that he'd be interested in talking about, or he'd entertain, or that the city does something to help him bear the interest on the loan. So the property doesn't cost him just sitting there static. So those were things that he threw out. I don't know, Jeff, what else would you add?
That's basically kind of where he's at. He's got these 4 options. Like he put them in order. He's gonna do something with them. It's just, what's he gonna do? He'd ultimately prefer to keep them, build what he wants. In a perfect world. But like he said, I can't just sit on that $100K interest.
He's not, he at least rated to us that he's not going to. So it's either he sells it or we buy it or somebody else buys it, but he wants out from under that static investment.
Yeah.
I think another thing that he relayed that was interesting, because most of it predated maybe when I came onto the council, but he felt like when we had the development agreement with Callahan for the Adrena stuff and those apartments went up, that changed the capacity of the apartment situation in town, which it did. And then, moved us to change the zoning, which limited his ability to finish the build on the other.
Feels like it was
15.
He's helped us out with different things.
Yeah.
He's bent over to help the city and then we pulled it out from underneath it.
Yeah, his language was he felt like the rug was pulled out from under him. And that's just the comment that he shared, that it saturated the apartment market and it drove us to change the zoning. And now he can't complete the original thing that he thought he had conceptual or verbal agreement with prior city administration to do. And then we quizzed him a little bit on, why don't you build more dense housing? Some of these other areas, duplex, multiplex, reference the housing study, talk through that. He basically said they can, as builders, they can only really make money on the apartments or on single family homes. And that the static margin on his developments for single family houses, not as a percentage of the build, but just as a flat dollar, it's the same margin on a $500,000 house today that they used to make on a $200,000 house
When he
when
first
this all started. So the cost of materials and all that stuff. And he said it's just really not feasible for them to build some of that middle dense kind of stuff without different kinds of incentives or things that offset the cost of the build because it doesn't generate them a profit. So, and I've heard that conceptually from other developers before, but I don't have any way to back that up. But you know, he and Tony were saying that that was the reality for them. So they're not interested in some of the more dense kinds of middle value housing like we've talked about in our housing study. And to me, that's something at some point we have to figure out, like, what can we as a city do, or what do we want to do if we need to incentivize that kind of stuff to be built? Because the developers on their own are probably not going to do it. And I don't know what the tools are in our bag to do that. That's it. On the remaining 6 lots he's sitting on, if he was allowed to build, his preference would be to build apartments. And he said 2 of them are smaller lots. They'd be 12 plexes and 4 more would be the 18 plexes like he's done. The other buildings are.
We need to talk to him about, you know, it is approved to build, you know, the commercial underneath and apartments above.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't build the commercial lots that I have now.
Yeah, he did say that. Because we did talk about the multi-use type building and stuff. So I don't know, I guess we told him we would relay that information to the council and we discussed it. He didn't ask for a time on anything, but he wanted to make sure that we really understood where he sat.
From his side of things. Yeah, nothing was promised to him.
No,
It was more of just listen to what he had to say.
there's a lot of history there.
Yep, I know you have this written out and I know I received a copy.
I haven't sent it to anybody else other than Brian.
So just now that I can discuss it, yeah, word it out so.
Yeah,
we can-
and I think we've set it on so Doug could look at it
Has it as
and
well.
potentially, you know, kind of help us with like the next steps of our dialogue around what's here
Yes.
within our legal framework and our zoning and whatnot. But I appreciated the opportunity to meet him and try to build a more direct relationship. And I know he was a little concerned that Lexi's been a sounding board for him and at least a place, somebody he knew and somewhere he could go. So we encouraged him to reach out to us and keep the lines of communication open. He was very amenable to that, so.
Yep.
Questions or discussion? I think that just kind of lays everything out so everybody's up to speed on how that went. I think we've all been kind of wondering.
Yep, I'll get a forward it out to everybody tonight.
It was a very nice house that we were in. We went into one of his empty houses that's basically built. And
To make an offer?
I did not. I have a nice house and I don't need that big of a.
It was beautiful.
But it was a beautiful home and,
Yeah.
you know, but it's in the $500,000 to $600,000 range. And it's not a huge lot. I think it was over on Wyatt.
It was one of the.
And it just really cemented for me, like what the cost of the house. Very nice home, but it's not a cheap home and it's not a huge property.
No,
And that's what we're facing here in Peosta from a property valuation standpoint and stuff. And he contends that they have to build that cost of a home to make a profit. So like, where are we gonna get our middle market was what I kind of walked out of there thinking.
I felt the same way. It's like, how do
We do this?
we figure out how to make that be part of Peosta?
One of my biggest concerns too with Slavic is always that I know that he's worried about like his money loss and the money he's paying in interest every year. But that he might have to sell. And when you get to that point, we know Slavic, we know who we're working with, we know he's building beautiful homes in our community. He's, put in very nice roads for us too.
It's done.
And we don't know who that next person's gonna be, or what they're gonna do, or how they're gonna maintain those apartments, or how they're gonna take care of them, or who's gonna live there. And so that's a concern, I think.
I can appreciate all this. I can appreciate it, to the nth degree, and the situation that he's in. However, maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm still living back 4 or 5 years ago. But I think there is, from the citizens' perspective, there's zero interest in any more apartments.
Yeah, we talked through that. He knows that and we
We
relayed
went
that.
through the one
You know
of
what
the
I mean?
housing study with them.
I think we wanna value our developers as much as we can, but at the same hand, it's a balancing act.
It is. I mean, to me, a salient point in that discussion was when he flipped his phase 5 to phase 2. You know, I wasn't there at the time we had the conversations, but to build Thunder Valley Drive, which obviously helped the city a lot. But that moved his priorities and he hasn't been able to mark the properties. And now he's to the point where he's ready to develop those things. He can't. He can't sell them and he can't develop them the way he wanted and into a kind of thing that would make him an income. So.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you meeting with him and Lexi for kind of being the go-between. And I think everything we've heard is, you know, valid points, and we'll need to make sure we keep that in mind as we move forward. We've got Thunder Valley Drive and zoning. Discuss the option to rezone all the lots along Thunder Valley Drive to C2 from C1. I don't remember why this was brought up. Why was this brought up?
You had asked me to add it to the agenda.
I did.
That's why it says the mayor. That's why I was asking. I think the reason we did talk about it, there was a project that is not going forward at this time that needed to be C2. And so then the discussion was, do we just make all of those lots C2? Rather than wait for the next project that needs to be C2 and do a different one.
Instead of discouraging.
Now, the flip side of the coin here is the development on the west side of Thunder Valley is all C2 already. I mean, I guess I'd be interested in hearing what's the value of going from a C1 to C2, all C2 in Thunder Valley when we already have C2 property that's not being developed. Does that make sense? I think that's where I was coming from, why we want to talk about it, or why I wanted to talk about it.
Without having the zoning in front, what's the main difference between C1 and
Yeah,
C2?
what are the distinctives?
Light commercial versus heavy commercial. So to use Super Target, Lexi,
Thanks.
that's
That's
C2.
still not a gas station.
Yes. C1 is like jumbled, a little drive-in coffee shop.
Did you say gas stations in C2?
Gas stations, things like that.
Heavier
Drive-through
use.
banks, things like that would
Or
be
C2.
C2.
Things that draw a
Fast
lot
food.
more cars.
And the Callahan development on Drina C2,
That's been C2.
that's closer to residential, well, the other back side of residential. Yeah. And didn't we have
C2 that's not being developed, so they're not running out of it.
Correct, from a city standpoint.
right. I don't remember, do you
Looking-
remember, Jeff, when we talked to Slavic, did he have an opinion? We talked something about C1 and 2.
He said
that he could move it
would
better if it
prefer-
was
He would
two.
be able to, it would be open up the options of what could go there and it would be
Yes.
easier to sell
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
other
he was an
development around
advocate
it if
for
it was
moving to
C2
C2.
rather than C1. The commercial lots.
Which makes sense, because C2 has.
It opens up the doors to some other options.
Right.
He said something about there was a possibility of an offer and then he walked away because of the zoning.
Because of the zoning, yeah, it was
The car wash, I believe. That
But
was
there's
one of
there's still C2 inside the community that could have been built on.
And the beauty of having
But I
all
think
that,
it's
at the
because
C
that's
zoning
what-
now, I mean, even if you were to, that one project that we're not going to be getting, if we were to have zoned it C2, you're still in the same zoning. So you're not truly spot zoning, you're not going,
because we're in
And-
commercial zoning.
right, yeah, so I mean, it's,
His argument was that's more desirable because that's along, it's more
Yeah.
visible. So
Yeah.
it opens it up and it's more desirable than the opposite side of,
So it's like C1's here and C2's here from a permissibility,
yeah.
wider
Where the-
range.
That
still
part of the
commercial.
land is more desirable than across the street on Thunder Ridge. Like
Right.
right by Jumble and right in there
Right.
because it's right on the highway, so it's getting more.
Don't we have
it's more
C2?
visibility.
Don't we have C2 along the highway on the west side of Cox Springs?
I was gonna say, we pull the zone.
yes.
Can we get that,
And property. The GIS
Don't remember the
zoning.
gym.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we zoned all that to C2.
Well, if you go.
Well, I guess that's why we got it, it's not being
Hit
built
back
right now,
arrow.
but I guess the question is that.
I was just gonna pull it vegan, otherwise.
Also,
Go to.
We just on the east side with the Conlin and Michalakis property.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yes,
So it's
The
the
Nicolaus and
Adrena
Holland
property and the,
144 acres on the east side.
We have to expand
Thunder
that to the.
Hills Road.
it's on the
That's
wall
also-
back here behind. So
So you've got a pocket of sea.
Yeah, there's nothing
and.
Project.
It's already paying off.
I see that. There you go, Steve, you're making your case.
We haven't added, we haven't added the zoning for, Mr. Conlon's.
Sticking around, he was waiting.
I mean, the question I would have that is it valuable to preserve, for lack of a better term, some C1 property?
But everything that's in C1 can be built in C2.
Correct.
And updated.
So then,
Everything can't, in C2 can't be built in C1.
So it's gonna maintain like less of an industrial commercial feel to that corridor, probably.
With a,
Conditional use.
right, with a conditional use, if the project that was brought to us would feel like
It
it
fit.
would work, yeah, it would fit. As opposed to just anybody.
But we don't debate conditional use and it goes to Board of Adjustment, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
I do have to let you know, we have a 2-hour limit on our recording, so we have 5 minutes left to be recorded,
Start a new recording. Just being transparent.
which means we would have
Take a
to send out.
10-minute break so we can set up a new Zoom.
I guess
I think this is something we can discuss.
we can,
I
yeah.
think
I
it's-
don't think it's out of the question, but my question is, we already got C2, that's not being developed on.
It is.
Why,
Well, I think maybe it's like if this helped the marketability of those lots with a developer that's already made a significant investment in the city.
That's where I'm.
And he stayed in it, stayed
Why
in the
didn't he go
development, kept working versus selling into an unknown. Maybe that's a factor we should chat about. Maybe we chat about that with him. I don't know. It's like,
Why did he ask it to be changed?
He did, didn't he?
he talked about it.
That he did.
I thought he did. I thought it was denied.
He asked it to be changed.
No, it was the C2 for the corner lot that was being considered for that.
The car wash.
Well, I think there was
The other
another project.
No, he was absolutely in agreement with that.
Who
brought up
who was
another
he?
project too.
Slavic.
Yeah, he was in agreement.
Yeah,
But he said he thought it scared those developers away because
Because it would have had to be
it
rezoned.
would have had to be rezoned and they didn't trust the rezoning process. And so then they just walked.
So,
I think I'm open for discussion.
yeah,
For
December, January.
December.
Yeah, December, we'll keep moving.
December, we have, PEDC and we have the strategic planning with 4.
Oh, we have that.
That's gonna be.
January, participant, please. Absolutely. Thank you. Bulk item pickups, very quickly, let me move on. This is also a mayor's request. With our bulk item pickup we had this last time, Chief, I know I talked to you about a certain property in town. Did we go and talk to them? Did they clean up what they were?
They did, yeah, so they had some items laying out, it wasn't from the household, it was from a, I would say, prior business or a business. That put some stuff out on the curb that wasn't from the residents. We did go there, we did tell him he had to move it, however, he did pluck it on it and saying, is there an ordinance saying we can't do this?
When you say he, the father or the son?
The father was very open for the discussion. He said basically talk to the son on it. You know, father said, we put out our stuff from the house, the rest of the stuff we'll talk about. So the son was defiant, I would say, you know, on it, basically saying, is there an ordinance that says we can't do this? There are ordinances out there that says he cannot run a business within the household. However, when it comes to the bulk ordinance, we both looked and there's nothing specifically saying for bulk pickup that said person can't do that. So I think it's in the best interest of the city to move forward with an ordinance that would specify in the, I got it pulled up here, hang on. Chapter 53 garbage, 5313 is prohibited acts, and added a line in there that says you cannot. I mean, the bulk pickup should be from your residence only and not prior business or any other.
I think it's gonna need a little more discussion probably.
I agree. I'm just saying that would be a recommendation of move forward.
Yeah.
Both friars.
Yeah, we slide that to January as well to have that in there again
Yes.
for another discussion.
And I
Yeah,
will
we've
look
got
at
some
some
time.
draft language.
Yeah, because I think it's gonna take us down a path and we're gonna all just go. "Bup, bup, bup, bup."
agree. It'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Just, we're gonna be dealing with this in the future again.
Right, and I think it's because we have dealt with it multiple times in the past.
Yeah.
Which is why I wanted it brought up.
100%.
Thank you.
January.
All right, that's all I got. Anybody else? Thank you.
I'd like to see that again, that boop, boop,